This is part three of a three-part interview with author Lorraine Evanoff. In this segment, we're going to ask her some questions about her general philosophy, the future of her Louise Moscow character, and her life's journey. So, Lorraine, the character of Louise Moscow is very comfortable in the company of men, both as lovers and companions. How does that reflect your own life, and how does it inform your definition of the masculine and feminine spirit?
Well, I do have opinions about that. I grew up with a lot of brothers and a lot of boy cousins and a lot of sisters as well. But I do have this theory that people who grew up with the opposite sex around them, like sisters, brothers, they are more comfortable with that opposite sex. And you can kind of always tell, like personally, my experience, I could tell if a guy hadn't grown up with sisters, for example, or you can just kind of, there's something about their comfort level. So I think Louise, even though she was only child, somehow she got that from me, that she's comfortable. And I also think it's another thing that's similar in that vein. I think myself personally, I always hung out with older people, and I mean much elderly people. I loved the older, wiser people. So I think it has also to do with intellectual flexibility or something, and just kind of maybe also, sometimes girls can be a little difficult when you're younger to be around, and men you're just a little more comfortable with because you don't have to have that competition and things like that. There's a lot of different factors in there.
You speak often of your working class roots as a child in that type of family, and how the decision to go to Paris after college altered your life's course. What do you think was different about your attitude that allowed you to break away from what may have been expected of you in America versus what you became in France?
Oh, that's so weird. I don't know whatever drove me, but I did know that out of, my entire family, my immediate family, I was the only one of 6 kids and 2 parents who finished high school, let alone put myself through college. And
Wow.
I had always known, I knew when I was 4 that I was going to be a businesswoman, like Mary Tyler Moore, go to college. I just knew. I didn't know how, and I had to figure it all out the hard way, but I knew it. And so that is probably an extension, and then extension of that. And then I happened to just keep falling into these things like by my interests, personal interests. Like in college, I was interested in a foreign language, but I didn't want to take Spanish because that's what kind of everybody was taking. So French just seemed so interesting. And that led to me going on these summer programs. And then I fell into it, completely accidental, whatever. But it really did completely transform me. I had to kind of go through the Pygmalion phase where I had to learn simple etiquettes, of social life, especially in France. They're very strict and very picky, and you have to say the formal you, and you have to eat with both hands, and you don't start eating until everybody's ready to start eating. Simple things that you would know, many people already know, but I had no idea. So it was really life-changing.
You shifted your career path into finance because you were fascinated on how money influences our world and our lives. How is money different in your observation when it is overaccumulated and begins to corrupt the human soul?
That could be a cart before the horse or chicken and egg question, because
True.
I think certain types of people want money and they get obsessed with it. Personally, I kind of always shunned the almighty dollar. I went for the arts, or, even though I ended up being in finance, that was because that just made sense at the time. I had to make a lucrative living when I switched out of acting to something else. And it just made sense for me to go into finance, because I had heard the saying, I don't know if Mayor Daley said it, he said something like, if you know where the money is, you know where you have the power. So it just seemed to me like the quickest through line from point A to point B. So I guess it just worked for my brain at that time. I don't know if I answered that.
No, you did. Sex and love is a singular intuition for every human being. How did you want Louise's approach to sex and love to be different from your own intuition? And how did you want it to be the same given your life experience?
Oh my goodness. Louise always had a lot more control in that department than I did. So um,
Hmm.
I should just say she had more confidence in herself. Personally, I didn't have confidence in myself growing up. And so Louise, because of that father figure, I feel she really at least had that going for it. For whatever self-doubts she had, it didn't seem to be something that threw her a lot, the whole sexuality and love. So in that sense, we're very, very different. Once I woke up and realized, I had control of myself and my body and my power was mine,
Yeah.
then I became more like Louise. And that's how Louise is.
Finally, what did you find out about Louise and yourself that will play into book 3 of the Louise Moscow series? With our real lives of pandemic and survival, how do you think it will affect your approach to the next novel and Louise's overall philosophy and psychology?
This right now, in my mindset right now, it'll be the confidence of what she's going after, what I'm going after, and having experience now, knowing what I didn't know is going to come across in Louise. She's going to be wiser. She's just going to know what to go after and how to go about it better. I actually feel like I'm just more confident about my abilities. I think that's really what it is, and that's going to make it, that more interesting.